What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 4 recap for Alien Earth. Looking forward to diving into this one with you guys. Let's do it. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode recap of Alien Earth. I don't usually do TV reviews, but I am such a fanatic of the Alien franchise. I always cover the movies. I knew I would cover every episode of this TV show. I'm the guy that loves the lore of this franchise. I am the guy who loves Prometheus, who loves Covenant, digging into stuff past the actual Xenomorph lore, going into the engineers. Get crazy. I'm the guy that loves that stuff, and I know that there's a lot of people out there that this stuff's just not really for them. There's people even reviewing this series that I've seen some of the thumbnails, and you guys aren't liking it. I get that, but I'm sorry. I love this show, and take that with a grain of salt. That's why I'm telling you this stuff, okay? Because you might not like this show. You might not like this current episode. And I get it. I totally get it, because they definitely go into the weeds. And are we going to be able to explain everything that they're trying to go into? Maybe not. Maybe not. But am I enjoying the ride so far? Absolutely. Episode 4, Observation. This episode was not an action episode whatsoever. If you are going into an Alien show and you're just wanting straight up Xeno action, then you might have checked out at this point. But because I love all that backstory type stuff, I love what they're doing with this series. You know, taking these children that are dying and inserting their consciousness, maybe their soul, into an actual synthetic organism. That stuff interests me, because who knows how far they could go. And I think Wendy is easily the most interesting. She was the first case to do this. She was attacked by the Xeno in episode 1, I believe. And we're already seeing maybe some reactions to that at the beginning of this episode. We find that she can actually communicate with the Xenomorph. She's starting to get these like signals from the Xeno. And that does wrap around to the end of the episode with what happens, which we will get to that. And by the way, little side note, I'm loving how this series has a rock song at the very end. You know, we've had Tool, we've had Black Sabbath, we had Metallica in the last episode, and in this episode we actually had Jane's Addiction, which is really cool. And it's a nice little bonus, because then you're wondering, okay, what's the next track they're going to use? But also, ripping the Band-Aid off, I loved this episode. I watched it twice. I'm finding myself watching each episode twice just to try to gather as much as I can. The first time for enjoyment, the second time for just soaking everything in. And I think this stuff is important because it's building to something. And I think by the time we get to the next episode, I think we're definitely going to start seeing some more action. Some things are going to come to a head. I think this show is going to get crazy, and I love all the characters so far. And there's so many really interesting ones, like Curse, played by Timothy Oliphant. Marrow is probably one of my most interesting characters. By the way, shout out to Davey Dethray. He mentioned that Curse looks a spitting image of Michael Myers in Halloween 4. You know, that scene where they actually had a white-haired mask. Yeah, that looks like him for sure. So yeah, Davey, you nailed that one. But I think the point of this whole episode is that all the children are starting to have different reactions to their synthetic counterpart. Some very different than others, like starting with Glib. She comes into this episode telling her parents that she's pregnant. And we noticed she started having some weird reactions in the last episode. And so I think she is one of the characters that is going to get really interesting throughout the rest of this season. Is it 8 episodes? Is it 10 episodes? I don't know. But her parents clearly are concerned about her. And this is one of those situations where the parents become afraid of the child. She gets really unpredictable, even violent at times. Especially when they tell her that she's not pregnant. She takes offense to that. And keep in mind, she still has a child's brain. So she has, childlike emotions. And I have to say, when you're watching these characters, sometimes you forget, because they're in an adult body, sometimes you forget that they're children in there. But then these young actors who are very talented, they'll have little moments in there to remind you, oh yeah, these are definitely children. Like, I think Slightly being one of the most cherubic of the bunch, so to speak. There's a moment at the end of the episode where they have like a round table and they're all talking, and Hermit is there with Wendy. And when Slightly comes up, he, of course, is a little jealous of the situation, because he's like, Wendy gets to reunite with her family members, but all our family members are gone. And so Hermit, being, you know, a young adult, because he is mature, he's able to navigate that situation. One of the big points of this episode was Hermit trying to reunite with Wendy. At the beginning, Wendy, you know, she's having trouble hearing, and the corporation, they're basically having to like reboot her, fine-tune her hearing. Kind of reminds me when I'm doing a stream and I always have to go into my settings and adjust my mic volume. That's pretty much what they're doing here. But the whole point here is that Wendy is this, you know, $1 million, maybe $1 billion investment, and Hermit, they don't care about him whatsoever. They could do without him. You can stay on board as long as we find you useful. But as far as your connection to your quote-unquote sister, yeah, we don't care. And of course, Hermit, he loves his sister, so he's trying to, you know, fight for her, find ways to stay with her, and he has to use his wits to do that. I think one of the most interesting scenes in this actually is when the old man is talking to Hermit, and this is where they present questions like, how much of the human is in there? Is this really your sister, or is this just a computer, an AI taking on the persona of your sister? It can really rack your brain at times. And that's one thing I love about this show, is it presents a lot of questions, but doesn't necessarily provide the answers. And I think this is one of those situations where it's fun to kind of form your own conclusions, because I have a feeling that there's going to be some questions at the end of this show that aren't answered. And I'm fine with that, as long as they give you, you know, enough to satisfy. Marrow has an interesting part in here. He is manipulating Slightly, using Slightly's parents against him, telling him, hey, if you don't do what I need you to do, I want you to actually bring one of your friends to the egg chamber. And he flat out tells him, you know, we're going to have a face hugger. They're going to come out and they're going to attack your friend. You'll be safe. And when your loved ones are on the line and he's literally right there with her, you know, what would you do in that situation? Are you going to save your loved one, or are you going to, I guess, not let evil win? They didn't really explore Curly that much in this episode, but she is definitely the character that I'm constantly keeping my eye on. They do sort of hint at her importance, that she is not that important, which kind of makes her jealous. Which again, this is AI becoming jealous. Which, by the way, there was like a little short on X where they're asking AI or ChatGPT to count to 1 million, and they get into an argument with them. And it seems like the AI is getting kind of frustrated with the person asking it. So, sort of the same thing here. Kirsch is hella interesting in every episode. In this one, he's kind of in the background and he's watching things unfold. He's watching Marrow and his interaction with Slightly. He's watching at the very end when we have Wendy and she comes face to face with the chamber that has the lung, that has the embryo, the Xeno embryo in it. And the Xeno comes out and the chamber explodes. And then, of course, you can't just have a normal Xeno. This Xeno is like a snake-like Xeno. I don't know why it ended up snake-like. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments. See, I don't know everything, right? And I'm going to tell you guys that. Maybe that answer's not meant to be presented yet. Maybe we'll find out why it is snake-like. But definitely a cool ending. I think they set things up, and I think the next episode is going to definitely present some more action. Is this my least favorite episode? Yes, but still highly enjoyable. And I do think you need these types of episodes that are more character building. You know, I don't want every single episode to be just straight up action packed, right? You gotta have a good balance there. But I am ready for some action for sure, guys, okay? Again, I'm one of the guys that loves this show. Some of you are gonna hate it and you're gonna tell me in the comments, and that's fine. Some of you are going to tell me I like everything. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Actually, check out my monthly wrap that's coming up. You'll see some stuff I don't like. But yeah. So let me know what you guys think of this episode observation in the comments. And really looking forward to the next one. This is the most excited I've been for a TV show in a while. You know, whereas I'm like counting the days to the next episode. Every Tuesday night's kind of an event for me. And I always mean to put up these videos on Tuesday nights, but I'm always exhausted because I have a day job. So yeah. So anyway, yeah. Let me know what you guys think of the episode in the comments. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day on Fridays. Do for Fridays. Follow my Drumdums on my socials. Support me on Patreon. Become a channel member. Buy me a coffee. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a good day, and Drumdum out.